I spent years mocking men online for complaining about dating costs. I'd reply, "Bro, it's like $20, one cocktail and some fries. Stop crying." Everyone in my group chat would hype me up for it. I thought men who whined about paying were just weak, bitter losers who couldn't handle basic masculinity. My name is Andrea, I'm 28, I'm queer, and 3 months ago, I spent $320 on a first date with a woman who unmatched me the next morning. That one night didn't just empty my wallet, it shattered every belief I'd ever held about dating, gender expectations, and how women treat each other when traditional roles get flipped. This is my confession. This is the story of how one expensive dinner taught me that the expectations I defended when men paid somehow felt very different when I was the one bleeding money. Growing up, I never once saw a woman reach for the check. Dad always paid when we went out. So did my uncles, my friends' boyfriends. If a man didn't pay, people whispered he was broke, cheap, or just not man enough. In my head, paying equaled masculinity. Whining about money equaled weakness. College reinforced everything. I threw myself into activist circles, spent most of my time organizing events and arguing online about gender equality. The girls in my club would brag, "If he can't pay $50 for dinner, how's he ever going to provide?" We'd laugh and say men who split bills were basically roommates, not boyfriends. I soaked it up. Repeated it online like gospel. When men complained in comment sections about dating costs, I had my speech ready. It's one drink, one meal, $20 max. You're not going broke. You're just making excuses because you're too cheap to treat a woman right. The likes rolled in. The agreement felt intoxicating. I was fighting the good fight, calling out male fragility one thread at a time. I had no idea I was about to learn this lesson the hardest way possible. I came out as queer in my early 20s. Dated a few women here and there, but nothing serious. The dating dynamics were different, sometimes we split bills, sometimes we took turns, sometimes whoever asked paid. It felt more equal, more fair. But then I started noticing something. Some women I dated, especially the more feminine ones, would hint at wanting to be courted. Would talk about traditional romance and chivalry even in queer relationships. At first, I thought it was sweet. Old-fashioned but harmless. Then I matched with this stunning femme on Tinder. Cute selfies, lots of heart emojis, always hinting at fancy cocktail bars and sushi spots in her messages. I wanted to impress her, prove I wasn't some broke activist living off ramen. I wanted to show her I could provide, that I could be the mask energy she seemed to be looking for. When she hinted at going out, I jumped at it. She texted, "Let's do a real dinner, something nice." I joked back, "Sure, how expensive can dating even be? One drink, one meal, $20 max." She sent a heart emoji. I thought nothing of it, still convinced that $20 to $30 is what guys exaggerate into hundreds. I was so confident. So sure of myself. I had no idea I was walking into a financial execution. Date night arrived. I stressed about what to wear, ended up overthinking everything. Should I go more mask? More androgynous? I settled on a button-down and nice jeans. She showed up in this flowy dress, makeup perfect, smelling like expensive perfume I couldn't pronounce. Immediately, I felt the dynamic shift. She was expecting to be treated, and I was expected to do the treating. We walked into this trendy place downtown. Dim lighting, neon sign out front, half the menu in French. The hostess beamed at her, barely glanced at me, then led us to a window table. The menus had heavy leather covers. Half the items didn't even have prices listed. How bad could it be? I thought. The server came over, asked about drinks. Before I could blink, she said, "Let's do cocktails." I heard the mixologist here is amazing. I nodded, trying to seem like I did this all the time. 2 signature cocktails arrived, neon-colored, garnished with dehydrated fruit slices and edible flowers. They tasted like juice. The bill would later tell me they were $18 each. She ordered a second round without hesitation. $36. Just for her drinks. Next came appetizers. She pointed at the ceviche, let's share that. Oh, and can we get the chef's sides too? I heard the truffle fries are insane. Sides, fries, whatever, I thought. Can't add up to much. I smiled and let it roll. The entrees arrived. She ordered steak with a premium add-on of bone marrow butter. I went for salmon, slightly cheaper, trying to balance things out. She laughed, you always go for the healthy option, huh? Boring, but cute. I laughed too, but my brain was already ticking numbers in the background. After entrees, I was ready to wrap it up. But she leaned back, twirled her hair, and said, we have to do dessert here. It's famous. Chocolate lava cake. 2 cappuccinos. I sipped mine, trying to act like I belonged in places like this. Finally, the server brought the bill folder. Without hesitation, he slid it in front of me. I don't know if it was because I was dressed more masculine, or if it was just automatic, but there it was. She didn't even glance at it. Too busy fixing her lip gloss and her phone camera. I opened it casually, expecting maybe $70 to $80. My stomach dropped. Subtotal, $296. Plus tax and tip, it would break $320 easily. 2 rounds of cocktails, $72. Ceviche, $19. Entrees with premium add-on, $68. Chef's sides, $26. Dessert and coffees, $28. Tax, $20. Tip at 20%, $49. The Uber ride after, another $24. This one dinner, one casual night, was basically half my rent. I tried to act unfazed, but my hands literally trembled sliding the card in. She casually said, not even looking up, thanks, babe. I'll get you next time. Like it was scripted. Like she'd said it before. My heart sank. I realized this wasn't a favor. It was an expectation. Even here, in a queer relationship, the same dynamics were playing out. The server came back, ran the card. It declined on the first try because of the pre-authorization hold. My face went hot. I scrambled for my backup card. She noticed. Tilted her head slightly. Smirked. Said nothing. The bill cleared. I shoved the receipt back like it burned me. Walking out, I was drained. She stretched, yawned, and said, "Are you calling me an Uber? It's late, and I don't feel safe on trains." The words weren't even a question. They were instructions. I opened the app. Another $24. She nodded with a blank expression, hopped in. The car door shut. Tail lights disappeared. I was left standing on the sidewalk, wallet hollow, heart too. I waited on the train platform, doing damage control math in my head. Okay, if I skip coffee this week, cut groceries to rice and eggs, maybe I'll survive. But then what? Do it again next weekend with a new girl? A tiny voice said, just ask to split next time. A louder voice said, right, and watch her call you cheap, ungentlemanly, or whatever the lesbian equivalent is. For the first time, I wondered if this is what men feel. Building entire budgets around rejection. Line items labeled drinks for strangers and farewell Ubers. Next morning, I woke up groggy and checked my phone. Text message, had fun. Not looking for anything serious. 5 minutes later, she unmatched me on Tinder. I stared at the screen, jaw slack. $320 gone. For what? A quick cheek kiss and a delete button. I slumped back, opened my banking app. Rent was due in a week. My balance was already thin. That one night had torched me. And suddenly, all those men I'd clowned on didn't feel so funny anymore. My brain replayed my own words like a cruel echo. It's like $20 max, stop crying. Nah. It's not $20. It's cocktails, sides, tax, Uber, tip. It's 300 every time. And no thank you at the end. I sat there spiraling, remembering all the memes I'd shared about men crying over cheeseburgers. The think pieces I'd reposted about emotional labor. The snide DMs I'd sent when guys complained about modern dating. I thought they were bitter losers. Turns out they were accountants with receipts. I vented to my group chat, mostly queer women and some guys, expected sympathy, maybe someone to roast her. The women replied, LOL, that's just dating. Suck it up. One added, she probably didn't even like you that much if she ghosted. Don't take it personal. I typed back, but it was $300. They shot back, you wanted to play the mask role, right? That comes with expectations. Welcome to what men deal with. My stomach turned. The guys in the chat, quieter usually, finally spoke up. One said, now you see why men check out of dating. Another added, it's not that we're broke. It's that it's a rigged game. Pay to play, and you still lose. I wanted to argue, but my card statement sat there like evidence against me. I asked the chat, so what? Am I just supposed to accept paying 300 every time? Silence from the women. Then a dismissive, don't date femmes if you can't afford it. The guys sent skull emojis. One dropped a line that hit me in the gut, welcome to the other side. Fine. Spreadsheet time. One date, $320. 4 dates in a month, $1,280. Dating apps so you can even meet people, $120. Basic upkeep so you don't look unemployed, gym, haircuts, decent clothes, $150. Total, $1,550 a month to be told not looking for anything serious. My activist brain tried to say, but this is different. I chose this role. My bank app said, you're already negative from one dinner. The next day at work, I do freelance photography at a studio. My coworker Daniel swung by. Gentle guy, mid-30s, always brings granola bars for everyone. He asked why I looked like I'd lost a court case. I told him the short version, girl, dinner, 300, ghosted. I expected a laugh. He just nodded like he'd seen a car accident. Then he said, yeah, that's Tuesdays. I blinked. What do you mean? He shrugged like explaining gravity. To stay in the dating pool, I spend around $2,000 a month. My jaw dropped. $2,000 on what? He opened a notes app like a man carrying receipts, totally deadpan. Apps, Tinder Gold, Hinge Roses, Bumble Boost. Call it 120. First dates, 4 to 6 a month, average 120 each with drinks and Uber, 6 to 800. Second and third dates, shows, nicer restaurants, another 4 to 600. Upkeep so I don't look like a couch, gym, haircut, decent clothes, 200 plus. Random, can you spot me? Emergencies, 200 on a good month, 500 on a bad one. He pocketed his phone, then added quietly, that's before birthdays. I reached for my old line, but women sacrifice too. Emotional labor, safety. He nodded immediately, not defensive, you're right. I'm not arguing. I'm just telling you the price of admission for me. He gave me a sad smile. And I still get told I'm not serious if I won't book the tasting menu. Then he paused and added, but honestly? I'm kind of surprised you're going through this in queer dating too. I thought that would be more equal. I had no response. Because he was right, I thought it would be different too. Later that afternoon, Jay, the studio courier, 26, gym rat, always joking, plopped on a crate beside me. I mentioned the $300 night, expecting him to roast me. He went quiet instead. Then he told me he'd paid for a woman's dinners for 6 months. Thought we were building something. She said she wasn't ready to be exclusive yet. One day she texted, you're amazing, but I met someone who gives me butterflies. Jay laughed once, but it died fast. Butterflies can fly on full stomachs, I guess. He said he looked at his credit card statement after the breakup. 6 months of building something added up to nearly $4,500. Could have bought a used car, he said. Bought a lot of strangers' cocktails instead. My brain pulled the old lever, maybe you chose the wrong girl. He shrugged. Maybe. But how many wrong girls do you have to pay for to meet one right one? I had no answer. That evening, I called my brother out of nowhere. We're not super close, but he's simple in the best way. Honest, careful, never complains. I told him about the date, pretended to laugh, expected him to say tough luck and move on. Instead, he exhaled like he'd been holding something for years. Yeah, that'll keep happening if you let it. He told me about a coworker who went into credit card debt chasing women. He's paying interest on memories of people who don't remember him. I winced. My brother said he keeps a folder on his phone named Reality. It's not creepy, just notes. Averages of date costs, Ubers, app subscriptions, rent. I keep it so I don't gaslight myself. Every time someone calls me cheap, I open it and breathe. We were quiet for a moment. Then he broke it softly. I know you used to clown guys online. It used to sting. I wanted to argue, to say I was fighting for equality, for women's safety, for fairness. But the number 320 sat between us like a witness on the stand. My feminist reflex kicked one last time, like a dying battery. I said, maybe this is different though. I chose to take on a more masculine role in dating. It sounded like an excuse even to my own ears. My brother didn't snap. He just asked, but did the expectations change just because you're a woman dating a woman? Or are the same rules still in play? I had no answer. He added, you're broke from one date. How is that different from what happens to guys? The line sliced clean. After the call, I threw my phone on the couch and paced. I hated feeling wrong, so I tried on anger like a coat. But this is about gender roles, not gender itself. I chose this. Did I though? Or did I fall into the same trap men do, thinking I had to pay to prove my worth? A random memory surfaced. My mom at the kitchen table when I was 12, on the phone with her sister, voice sugary. He's so stingy. I asked for a little extra for school clothes and he acted like I robbed a bank. She hung up and looked at me, remember this, honey. A real man should pay for you. Back then, I nodded like it was a life hack. Another memory, my aunt at a birthday dinner. The bill arrived. She giggled and slid it toward her boyfriend like a game piece. He's the man, she said, like gravity. Nobody fought it. The table just agreed. Child me learned it without words, men equal wallet. Women equal witness. But now I was playing the role of the wallet. And it turned out, the role didn't care about my gender, it just cared about extracting money. The next week at the studio, an older photographer named Paul overheard me venting to Daniel. Paul was 50, divorced, calm like a man who's seen weather. He didn't rant or complain, just sipped his coffee slow. He asked me, almost offhand, so you're learning what it's like, huh? I looked up, defensive. What do you mean? Being the one expected to pay. I heard you talking. Doesn't matter if you're dating a man or a woman, does it? If you're the one taking on that role, the bill's the same. I wanted to argue, but he kept going, voice steady. The system doesn't care about gender. It cares about roles. Provider and provided for. And whichever role you're in, you're stuck with those expectations. But it's different, I protested weakly. Women face other challenges. Safety, harassment. Sure they do, Paul said. I'm not saying they don't. But right now, you're learning about this specific challenge. The one men face. And you're finding out it's not as simple as you thought it was, are you? I sat there, heat rising in my chest. No snappy comeback this time. He gave me a small smile. Not mocking, just tired. Here's the thing, maybe it's not about men versus women. Maybe it's about a system that forces people into these roles and then bleeds them dry for it. The room felt heavier, like he'd turned on a backstage light I wasn't supposed to see. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, mind spinning. I thought about Dad, the boring provider I'd watched growing up. The way he worked doubles, wore the same watch for decades, skipped vacations. And I finally got it. He wasn't boring. He was broke from carrying everyone else. And now I was getting a taste of what that felt like. My brain kept asking questions I didn't want to answer. How many men go through this silently? How many women, queer or straight, take on the provider role and face the same bleeding wallet? How many people keep dating just because admitting you feel used is somehow shameful? And most of all, if these expectations follow roles rather than genders, what does that say about the system itself? I went for a walk to clear my head. Passed a couple outside a boutique. The guy was carrying 2 shopping bags and her tote while she scrolled on her phone, laughing at something. He looked tired but patient. For the first time it hit me, oh. That could be me with any feminine partner. The gender doesn't change the dynamic. I wrapped my jacket tighter, pretending the wind was what stung. I took my sandwich to the park, watched a dad push a stroller with one hand while carrying groceries in the other. The mom was taking selfies with the baby. I used to think that was cute. Now all I could see was the receipt in his pocket, and wondered if that would be me someday too, if I built a life with someone. Next morning, I tried to laugh it off with a tweet, just spent $300 on a girl who unmatched me. Turns out expensive dating crosses all orientations. It blew up. Men replied, welcome to our world. Queer women replied, yeah, dating femmes as a mask is basically the same as being a straight guy financially. Straight women replied, well, now you understand. I muted the thread, embarrassed. I sat back, staring at my bank app again. Couldn't deny it anymore. The system I mocked men for hating had chewed me up in one night. And it didn't care that I was a woman. It just cared that I was playing the provider role. The femme I'd paid for was already posting Instagram stories from another rooftop bar. Caption, life's short. Order dessert. Me, slurping instant noodles alone, life's long. Pay interest. I'm 28 now, and my entire worldview has been rearranged by a single dinner bill. I still believe in equality. I still believe women face unique challenges and deserve support. I still believe in fighting for queer rights and visibility. But I also now understand that some of the things I fought for, some of the expectations I defended, were actually just cruelty disguised as progress. I believed men who complained about dating costs were weak and bitter. Now I understand they were just doing math I refused to acknowledge. I believed real men provide was a noble standard. Now I see it as a financial trap that destroys good people, regardless of gender. I believed splitting bills was unromantic and cheap. Now I wonder if expecting someone to hemorrhage money is the real cheapness. Here's what really gets me, I went into queer dating thinking it would be different. More equal. More fair. But the same dynamics were there, just with different people playing the roles. The question isn't really about men versus women. It's about a system that assigns roles, provider and provided for, and then punishes whoever ends up carrying the financial weight. I destroyed relationships with my rhetoric. I called men fragile for wanting basic fairness. I mocked their pain while sitting comfortably on the sidelines. And then I stepped into their shoes, or at least, into the same role they occupy, and found out it fit a lot tighter than I expected. The question Paul asked haunts me, the system doesn't care about gender. It cares about roles. And maybe that's the real conversation we should be having. Not about whether men or women have it worse, but about why we've built a dating culture that requires anyone to go broke just to prove they're worthy of love. Love shouldn't require financial sacrifice to be valid. Partnership shouldn't mean one person pays while the other judges whether it's enough. Whether you're a man dating a woman dating a woman, or any other combination, if you're in the provider role, you're in the same trap. And maybe, just maybe, we need to dismantle the trap entirely instead of just arguing about who should be caught in it. I'm still figuring this out. Still trying to reconcile my beliefs with my new reality. But here's what I know for sure, that $320 dinner taught me more about gender, expectations, and fairness than 1,000 online arguments ever did. And sometimes, the hardest lessons are the ones that cost the most. What do you think? Have you ever realized your beliefs were completely wrong after experiencing them firsthand? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories about the messy reality of being human.